Okay. Well, you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. The irony of life is that most of us do not even realize what our potential is. Ashton Long said, your greatest strength is to know exactly who you are. But this is one of the most difficult quests to have answer for. And our coach for today, Dr. Mahesh Deshmukh, exactly does this. He simplifies this complicated process for those who wish to benefit. He makes people meet themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all on this self-reflecting session on ancient wisdom for modern times. It's my pleasure to formally introduce Dr. Mahesh Deshmukh to you all. Mahesh has more than 3,500 hours of leadership coaching experience. He has undertaken more than 20 group coaching sessions over the last 3 years, more than 50 C-level and 50 C1 level coaching. With his 27 years of vast experience in teaching, coaching, and consulting, there are so many organizations and individuals who have benefited remarkably from his expert guidance and support. The reason why I could make this statement with so much of conviction is that I have watched many of these transformations very closely. On several occasions, I had the pleasure of working with him, and he never failed to amaze me about how much he has to offer. List containing the number of international certifications that he has to his credit is very long. I'll just name a few. MCC ICF credential, Associate Coach CCL, Diploma in Coach Supervision UK, Mentor Coach certification from US. He's certified functional fluency TIF coach. For that, we have Susanna here to give credit for. Certified MBTI coach Australia, certified in integrative Enneagram, certified HeartMath coach and trainer US. Certified coach PM coaching Canada, diploma in transaction analysis, and now I'm tired. Just kidding. I'm sure we all are going to have very meaningful next 1.5 hours. And on that note, over to you, Mahesh sir.
Yeah, thank you for that intro. Yeah, just a minute. Yes.
Baba, the news just came in. वो मोदी ने अनाउंस कर दिया है नोट बैन हो रहा है आज रात से.
क्या बात कर रही है?
हाँ यार, 2001.
Sure.
100%. I just saw the news.
Double check.
101%.
Because I didn't believe you when you said this last time also.
But it still happened, right?
Just give me a second. Okay. There is some news. My daughter has come here that Modi has announced a ban on 2,000 rupee notes beginning tonight, 12. I don't know how I should react, but I'm just wondering what should I be doing. I should check with my wife. I'll just go and give me a few seconds to really think what I should do. I don't know whether we should continue with this or we should hold on. I'm slightly unnerved about it.
I'm sorry to interrupt in between, sir, but I am just checking on the news and there is no such news as of now.
Yeah, who is this, please?
Shikhar, sir.
Shikhar, okay. Because she just came and she said, Doordarshan news pe usne suna hai. So I'll just pause here for 10 seconds and also give you some time to think over what to do because I'm unnerved because when this happened earlier, I was in Oxford and I couldn't really do anything and I did lose some money. Yeah. Okay. So, if I can just invite all of you to just show up on the video. Yeah. And yeah, what landed, how did this land for you? Some confusion, some thoughts? Yeah. Just hold on to this. This is fake news. Yeah. So hold on to this news. Just keep track of what you thought, what you felt, and what action you might have wanted to take. So stay with that, and we will process this as we go through the session today. Very warm welcome to this process, to Enneagram. And the saying goes that you don't find Enneagram, but Enneagram finds you. So all of you who are here feel lucky that you've been found. Yeah. And what I'll do is walk you through this session using a slide presentation. Allow me to share this. Those of you who are, okay, let me do the poll first. Yeah. I know there are many people who are here who would want to know what is Enneagram, and some of you like Shikha and others already know about Enneagram, and I'm just wanting to check. Amol, you'll have to set up the first poll. Yeah, Amol, are you around? So we can do that like slightly later.
We got the poll.
Yeah, you got the poll?
Yeah.
Okay, just complete that. Yeah, what are the results looking like? If you can share that, Amol. Let's wait for people to just tick in what they said. And in the meantime, I'll start my screen and walk you through this. So thank you for joining in. I know Friday evening prime time, 8 to 9:30 p.m. is very, very precious for all of us. And upfront, thank you, Shikha, for such a wonderful introduction. It's really awesome, and in deep gratitude. So why is that we're talking about ancient wisdom for the modern times? And what is it about Enneagram that I would wish to share with you and bring it to your attention? So that's what I'll be exploring. Those of you who are familiar with Enneagram, please be mindful that we are really going to explore only a small speck of what Enneagram is all about. We are not going to become experts in Enneagram in the next 90 odd minutes. Yeah, so allow me to walk you through that. Those of you who know, it will be a revision. Those of you who don't know, it will be an opening. That's all I can say. And let me offer you why it is this ancient wisdom that that we can use in the modern times. Because the way Enneagram really shows up is beyond time. Yeah, and you'll see by the end of 90 minutes why I'm saying this and how we can apply it to our modern times, and how we interact with people, how we show up, how we do things, how we think and feel, and what really motivates us to be in this space where we are. Shikha, can you see the screen? Is it visible?
Yes.
All right. Great. And let me start this. It's important that we remember these key points about Enneagram. All of us are just one core type. It does not describe types of people. So hence, it doesn't pigeonhole us into any particular type. It describes types of automatic behaviors. That's what it is about. Everybody has all 9 types. That's why I said it is not typing people into pigeonholes. But yet I'm grounded in one type because there are several reasons for that which we'll not get here. But I can display the type behaviors of all other 8 types. And fundamentally, there is no better or worse type. Each has its own gifts and blind spots. Yeah. The purpose is not to change, but to balance, to connect with yourself and others so that you can display, use, deploy, and balance out all the 9 types to be able to deal effectively with yourself and with others. Nobody can tell your type. There are tons and tons of online tools to measure Enneagram, but it is best done through self-discovery. Yeah, there are 9 levels of self-mastery, which we will not get into in this session. But please do remember that we are not going to label people. But when you do, you have to think of the higher end of self-mastery, which again, as I said, we are not getting into the levels of self-mastery here. My God, there are people waiting. Okay, that's about some fundamental things that we need to remember about Enneagram. What is Enneagram? Yeah, it's drawn from the Greek. It has Greek roots, they say. Ennea in Greek means 9. Gram is written or drawn. Something that is drawn is what Enneagram is about. And that's the reason why there are 9 types. Now, why I'm calling this ancient wisdom is it's got roots in a really, really diverse kind of philosophical and spiritual traditions in the world. Rather than spiritual traditions, I would say spiritual wisdom. So Middle East, Asia, things like Christian mysticism, Kabbalah, Sufism, a lot of things are drawn from the Sufi mysticism. And it was popularized in Europe by Gurdjieff and Picasso in South America, and Claudio Narano popularized this in the US in the 1970s. Yeah, and Claudio just passed away last July. So he was the one who was fundamentally responsible for bringing it into the Western world. Otherwise, it was pretty closed within the spiritual traditions or the wisdoms that I spoke about. And it's got applications in a range of areas, right from parenting, in healthcare, spirituality, arts, business, education, therapy, and it's just about all-encompassing applications. And that's why it makes it so important, interesting, and exciting for somebody to explore Enneagram in its different dimensions. And that's one of the dimensions is what we're going to attempt is to really see what these 9 types are about. And we'll have a little exercise at the end of the session. That's why I have today's session for 90 minutes and not 60 minutes like the other sessions. So this is the symbol. There is a meaning and sense for this chaos of all the arrows, but again, we are not getting there. We are just looking at the 9 types today and exploring our own types in small groups towards the end of the session. And what is it that makes this important for choice, growth, and freedom? As Viktor Frankl puts it, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In the space is the power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And I have the privilege of having Dr. Susanna Temple here. And she has designed functional fluency as a model, which I'm inviting her to share with all of us sometime in the near future. Let's see what looks best for her. And she is of the opinion that choice is powerful for us. And humans have choice to respond and move away from reaction. And that's where growth really lies. And that's a powerful thing that she has built over the years of her experience. And if everything goes right, we'll have her speak on one of these webinars. So choice to respond. And what is that choice that we are looking at? Amit, Amol, if you are around, please log the meeting. because there are too many people coming in. So this is a simple model that we use. You begin the process of change with the pause button, then do self-observe, self-reflect, consider choices that are available, make the choice, and then push your play button. That's what this is all about. The change is all about. So that's, I'm not really going to spend a lot of time here. I'm just going to show you these slides and rush through it. So this is the push button we are looking at, and this is where we are looking at step 2 of what do I notice? What am I paying attention to? My thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. That's what this is about. That's where I'm doing a self-observing. And then I do a reflection. What are my patterns? Where do they come from? And do they still serve me? What is the purpose of these patterns which I have? And then I go on to the next stage. Yeah. Choices. There's so much available if we look around 60 degrees. What are my options which are viable for me, which are working for me, which can work for me, which can move me forward? So this is all about forward looking. And then let's do this. You have to make a choice and push the play button. That's what this offers us, Enneagram, as a spiritual wisdom or tradition. And who is it for? I mean, yeah, it is for me to understand. It is for others who are with me in the relationship. It's for teams if you're working in organizations, and if you're there in organizations, the entire organization system can embrace this way of looking at the world through the lens of Enneagram, the 9 lenses. So I'll begin with this. While I'm not getting into the details of this, I'll just mention here that the way we sense the world, the way we make sense, we draw information from what is going on around us and inside us, is through 3 areas. That's why Enneagram calls it 3 centers of intelligence. One is the body center, as you see, which are the types 8, 9, and 1. We'll see more of that. Then you have a heart center and a mental center or a head center. That's all about now. There's tons of information over the internet on this. So I know many and most of you will jump out in the internet soon after this and figure out what is my type, am I this or that. Don't take any tests. Don't waste your money. Because as I said, it is best discovered by self. So you need to spend a lot of time, but once you land on your type, it's an amazing feeling, and so many things make sense for us. The way we show up as individuals, in our relationships, in the way we deal with people at the shop, the way we deal with the team members, the way I deal with my boss, the way I deal with my spouse, my children, about anybody and everything in life, any life form, the way we interact, the way we show up, the motives behind all this showing up is very clear once we land on our type. And that can happen only if you pay attention to and are open to discovering what your type is. So I'll run through the 9 Enneagram types. So one of the things I'll invite you to do is to make a wild guess of what my type could be. Yeah, those of you who know my type, please ignore this invitation and don't do anything. Those of you who don't know my type, make a wild guess based on what we're going to do alongside your own type. All right. So now on, till I finished all the 9 types, please pay attention. If you want to scribble some notes, do that and try to identify your type. I know it is not going to be easy, but this is an exploration. And towards the end, I'll tell you how we are going to use one aspect of communication using Enneagram in our everyday life. That's what we'll be applying it to. That's the application in the modern times. So the first one is the body center and the motive. So what I'm going to talk about for each type is very specific. I'll be specifying what center it is and what is the motive. Motive in the sense what is the motive that plays out for each of these types. Yeah, that is really driving my behavior in each of these types. So that is anger, suppress. Then I'll have a clip or a visual that displays what this person might behave like through a cartoon or a visual, which is what I'm going to show you now. Yeah. Spend 10 seconds looking at this. Is it something I said? You're ironing my shorts with my rotary saw. That's anger suppressed. Yeah. There is anger, but I don't express it directly. And at the bottom of the screen here, you will see the worldview of this type. What do they seek? They seek a perfect world, continuously trying to improve everyone and everything. That is their worldview. That's how they show up as individuals. That's type 1. And here I'll give you 2 positives, that is hardworking and disciplined they are, and 2 blind spots. They're always judging, and they are seen to be inflexible. Yeah, pretty rigid in the way they do things is what type 1s are. Yeah? If you identify with yourself, if you think you're type 1, please keep some notes for yourself. The reason I'm asking you and inviting you to do this is, while you go through all the 9 types, you might say, hey, I'm probably 1 or 4 and 5, one of them. So keep notes and I'll help you explore what it might be. Because discovering type in itself is a full workshop. And when I said workshop, let me also remind you that there are 2 gifts that I'm offering at the end of this session to all those people who have signed up today and have been attending our webinars. So there is a little gift that we are offering from our side. So stay tuned. So this is how 1s are. They're body-centered people. They sense a lot of information through the body, yeah, through the gut. So their gut feelings are very strong. All the body centers, 8, 9, and 1. And the defining motive for them is anger, suppressed anger. There are 2 positives. They're hardworking and disciplined people. Some blind spots that they're not, that they may be aware of, but they may pay less attention to, judging and being inflexible. And the worldwide worldview is to seek a perfect world and constantly trying to improve everything and everyone around them. Yeah, there is, I'll show you some beliefs that they have. Yeah, so here, I will, in the next slide, I'll be sharing their focus of attention. What is their focus of attention? The 1s or any type that I'm showing. I'm giving you a general overview of what I'll be presenting for each type. So there are just 2 slides for each type. So the focus of attention is what is right or wrong, correct or incorrect, appropriate, inappropriate. The entire worldview, the entire way of looking at the world is through these lenses. Their focus of attention is just the kind of binary. I know there are a lot of mathematicians in this group, so they're pretty binary in the worldview. The shades of gray are very limited for 1s. And what are the core beliefs? There is a right way to do just about everything, and mistakes are not acceptable. I'll never be perfect enough. You have to constantly improve. Yeah, your continuous improvement. Your organizations, where we work, are always talking about continuous improvement, quality departments. Yeah. Expressing anger is not okay. Good people don't get mad because that is not the right thing to do. That is their core belief. And what is the key indicator to be able to identify types, type 1s? They have an internal voice on nearly 100% of the time, critiquing and preventing mistakes, and sometimes giving approval. Yeah, it's constantly ringing. You know, my mind constantly tells me, Mahesh, this is not right. You're not doing the right stuff. This may not be appropriate. This just doesn't fit in here. That's the kind of voice I keep getting in my head as a one. Yeah. So that's type ones. Shika, what I'll invite you to do is, as you go through, as I go through the session, check if there are any questions people are putting on the chat box. Guys, I may not be able to address all the questions, but feel free to ask. Shika, you can just curate some themes around the questions. There are 90 participants today, so I'm assuming at least even 10% keep asking questions. There'll be 9 questions for every type. That's exciting. Yeah. So I invite you to key in your questions. We may not have time. I anticipated 30 odd people joining in today. So I could have done it very differently in a workshop mode, but that's for some other time. So Shika, please curate some themes around the questions being presented and flag it to me so that I can respond at that point of time. Yeah. If you have something, I'll stop for half a minute to take any questions. Shika.
Nothing.
All right, great. So this is type 1. Let's look at type 2. Type 1, people on the call, how many of you think you are type 1s? Please put it on the chat box. Let's see how many of you think you are type 1s. Yeah. We are not going to penalize you. This is not the best thing. This is not the worst thing. This is the thing. That's it. We are who we are. And that self-acceptance is a big deal for all of us because each of the types has a gift, has a blind spot. Let's move to the next one. The 2s. This is where we are beginning to look at the heart center. And the defining dominant motive is dominant emotion is sorrow. So what is it that they are? What is this image telling us? Any quick thoughts, Shika? If you can see somebody keen, 4 or 5 responses, then we'll move on. What is the image telling you? What meaning are you making out of this image?
Inhibition, self-pity, angel.
Yeah.
Angel to help us.
Absolutely. That's what 2s are.
Sad angel.
Yeah. I'm sure the one person I'm going to talk about is on the call, and I'll make a mention of that person slightly later. Yeah. So this is what the image brings to us. Yeah. The angel. That's the image of 2s, and their worldview. They seek being needed and important to others, indirectly orchestrating people and events that I should be needed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an amazing thing that 2s are about, and that's what defines 2s. So their positives, 2 positives are they're extremely likable and generous people. My brother is one such person. I hope he's on the call. But the flip side of 2s, of being a 2, is overemphasizing relationships, and they are pretty much other focused most of the time. So as a 2, I'm so much other focused that I miss out what is going on just around me, just for me. Yeah, that's a blind spot for 2s. So much so that my family is flustered. They're unhappy with what's going on with me because I'm so much outside focused, other focused. I don't take enough care for myself. Yeah, it takes quite a lot for 2s to say that I need this. Yeah. So I have to tell my brother, please tell me what you need. Call me if you need any help. Because I recently was helping him out to shift his house. And I think in all my life, this is the first time he called me and said, Mahesh, I need your help to shift the house. And it would have taken him mustered a lot of courage to pick up the phone and say, come help me. Not a type 2 kind of approach. Yeah. So 2s. Yeah.
Though you have answered already, but if you could just clarify for Shikha, who is asking, what do you mean by other focused here?
Other focus other than me.
Yeah. I hope you got the answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody other than me is what I'm focusing on. Yeah. That's a blind spot, and I don't even realize that many times, most of the times, and that's why it is a blind spot, of course. So let's move on to the juice. Yeah. So what is that they are looking for? They are wanting to create an image of being kind and generous. That is the image that they are having. So the twos, threes, and fours are image conscious people. So the heart center people are image conscious. And we'll see that image consciousness has different shades for each of these types. So what is their focus? Will others like me? Am I needed? And if I'm not needed, I'm not worthy. So there's a lot of that thing that goes on for twos because they're constantly focused on this. And their core belief, putting myself first is selfish. The needs of others are always more than me. They come before my own needs. I'm not enough without other people in my life. Yeah, that defines who I am in my life. I can't really count on others to help me. I have to do it myself. I know intuitively what others need, but I'm rarely clear what I need. Yeah. One of the things I like to play around with an example, which I quite enjoy sharing is, when most of the times at whatever age you are today, we would have gone out to a restaurant with our friends. And a two in the group will intuitively know that he likes a dosa, he likes a pizza, he likes a spaghetti. And when somebody asks, okay, what do you want, Mahesh? I'll say, no, maybe a samosa or maybe a coffee. I'm not sure what I want. Yeah, these people they find it very, very difficult to understand what they need because they are never focused on themselves. So they'll say anything. And this is very different from how nine show up. And Shika, if I forget to bring a similar example, please remind me there when we go to nine. So this is how twos are driven by their core beliefs. And what is their key indicator? Self-worth becomes highly inflated or deflated based on the approval and appreciation of others. I'll feel highly valued if somebody feels, approves or appreciate what I'm doing, the kind of help I offer. And if somebody rejects my help, I'm completely devastated. That's not me. That doesn't define me. Yeah. So there is inflation if appreciation comes in, approval is there, and there is deflation if it is not offered. And that's a big indicator for recognizing if I'm a two. Right? Any questions, Shika, here? I'll pause.
No.
Right, great. Again, three is a heart center, again driven by sorrow. But let's see. What is this image making for you? What meaning are you making out of this image? Quick thoughts. We'll take 4 or 5 responses and we'll move on.
Come on, people, your response in the chat box, please. Want to explore more, want to be seen as different from others in the crowd. Opportunity, escape, expand.
Shika, you're getting so much of jargon.
Seriously. Vocabulary enhancement session.
All right.
Optimistic needs space. Optimistic needs space.
Right. Yeah, the small world is not enough for me. I need bigger space. I want to move. I want to grow. Yeah, I want to jump. Yeah, I can't stay here. Right. So those are the images. You will see why we have given this image for a 3, how we are representing that. So the worldview is seek respect from others for their achievements. Yeah. So once I have finished achieving here, I have outgrown this glass. I need a bigger container to demonstrate that I can still grow and achieve. Mistaking who they are for what they do. So their identity is what they achieve. That's what 3s are. So the gifts and blind spots. Highly goal focused, extremely confident. Yeah. And blind spot, overly competitive, that can burn them out, and very impatient. That's how 3s are. These are their blind spots. Going to the next slide. So their image is, they want to create an image of being confident and successful. That's how they want to show up. And what is their focus? What do I need to do to gain the esteem, respect, and admiration of others? And their beliefs, very interesting. I have to work hard, create a good impression, make it look effortless. Yeah, they work so hard on a project that when somebody from outside looks at it, it looks like seamless, effortless completely, but they would have slogged their ass out to get that done. I must produce and achieve to be valued. I am what I do. I am not what I be. That is a big difference that 3s have. I am lost without clear goals and plans. You tell a 3 to do something without giving any plans, he or she will find it very extremely difficult to take on such projects. And for them, failure is not an option. Yeah, like for 1s, mistakes is never an option. For 3s, failure is not an option. That's how they see their life. That is what drives, those are the beliefs that drives 3s to be who they are. And the key indicator is not understanding the difference between doing and being. That's what I say. Yeah. So they constantly are doing things to be seen as achievers. Yeah. How much does it drain you out, Shika?
A lot.
A lot, yeah. So there's a lot of burnout that 3s will experience. Let's move on to anybody who identifies themselves as 3s. Please put a thumbs up or just say yes in the chat box. So we know how some of you are 3s in the group here. Yeah, yeah, that's where it is. Let's move to the next one, which is 4. Again, 4s are heart centers, and sorrow is the driving emotion there. What is this image telling you? Some quick thoughts. People, what meaning are you making out of this image? Yes, Manasvi, you want to say something? You can unmute and speak.
Unique focus on self, until Manasvi speaks. I'm just telling you what I've got on the chat box.
Sure.
Different, standout,
By
lost.
mistake.
Okay. So she raised a hand by mistake. Different from crowd, want to be different. I'm not alone. Unique, outstanding, standing out. Loneliness, somebody said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Curious.
Yes, that's a big deal for 4s. They can be extremely lonely because they want to be seen as unique and they feel that nobody understands them. That's a big deal for 4s. Those of you who think you're 4s here, please explore that. Yeah. So their worldviews seek deep connections with self and others, with a need to be special and different. And because they're looking for being special, unique, different, and connection, that becomes very difficult for them because others don't see it that way. And this has got implications for how we interact with people, how our relations shape up with our friends, with our spouses, with our bosses, with everybody, just about anybody in the world, including our pets. Yeah.
Sir,
Yes. Shika, can I move on?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what are their gifts and blind spots? They're extremely sensitive people who can introspect a lot because they're constantly looking for connection with self. So, a lot of introspection. Yeah? But they're too intense for others and moody. That's why others find it very challenging to connect with fours. And many artists are labeled as moody. It is not that they are moody. They're just looking for seeing themselves as unique and connect with others because they want to be seen as unique. So their images of being seen as unique. And that's why they are perceived as pretty moody and intense people. Yeah. So if you have a 4 as a musician, his music is very different from a musician who is an 8. Yeah. Or a 3. They're completely different. Yeah. A 4's music is extremely intense, very spiritual, very deep, which is not the case with, especially if it's a 7, for example. It's very, if you're talking in terms of, because I'm closely connected to classical music, I can give you an example from the classical music. A musician, classical singer, who is a 4 is extremely spiritual, extremely intense, emotive music, which connects to the audience, which even before connecting to the audience, it is connecting with himself or herself. And when you have a 7, the 7 is constantly looking at the audience, looking for approval, looking for feedback. And he's constantly, it could be a 7 or it could be a 3. We'll see what 7 is. So please remember this example when we go there. So that's how these 4s are. And so they're wanting to create an image of being unique and distinct. That is their motive. That is what is driving them. And what is their focus of attention? I can express myself. Can I express myself and be understood? Will I be rejected or feel not good enough? So rejection, the fear of rejection is a big thing that 4s focus on. And what are their beliefs? Very interesting. I'm different and unique and I will always be so. That is the core belief. And that's why it takes a lot of time for them to open up and connect with others. So when you're dealing with people, and those of you who are the millennials and beyond in that age group, or parents of millennials like me, we need to be mindful on understanding what it takes to connect if you have a 4 child, if you have a 4 friend or a spouse or a boss, because they need time. No one can ever or will ever fully understand a 4. That's what I believe as a 4. People don't understand me. I have some intrinsic deficiency, difference or flaw, but I don't know what it is. 4s are driven by this belief that I am flawed in some way. And that's what I'm trying to discover and connect with. But I don't know what it is. If I get what others have, I'll feel complete. And I'm always feeling that I don't have enough. That is what is the core belief of it. And what is the key indicator? Assimilating negative data and responses instantly while rejecting positive feedback. Yeah. So if you are a 4, or if you know somebody who's a 4, please, some of you who think you are a 4, please put it up on the chat so we'll know that some of you are there. And there is the reason why I'm inviting you to do this. I'll share that at the end of this session. So if I give a compliment to a 4 saying, oh, that was an awesome piece of music, I say, no, that's not that great. So it is very difficult for a 4 to receive positive feedback. So he'll say, no, this is the place I could have done better. I say, what an awesome painting. What an awesome piece of work you have done. Yeah, I know, but this could have been a little more better. Yeah. Even if you say this is an awesome piece of write-up, 2-liners that you have written, a poem, or a piece of blog that you have written. So no, it's not that good, you know. I could have improved here. When this is not what it should have been here. I could have improved this sentence. So they are constantly picking on what is missing, negative data. That is their focus of attention, and that's a very big key indicator to identify if I am a 4. Yeah. Question, Shika? Can I move on?
Yes. So Kinjal, Manasvi, Dhwani, we have people here who are type 4. The question has been put up by Rahina, who is asking how different is this from a person who has low self-confidence?
Low self-confidence is a trait that we are talking about. What we are talking about, Enneagram type, is how we think, feel, and behave. This is not a personality type. I've been trained by Ginger Lapid Bogda, and I strongly believe and subscribe to what she says, that Enneagram is an ego structure. It defines how we think, feel, and behave. So self-esteem is only one speck of what we are. That's how I would like to make that distinction. Okay. Anything else, Shika?
The relevance of sorrow with heart center. What's the relevance of sorrow with?
Yeah, that is the dominant emotion that heart centers live with, and it has got different shades how it shows up. Sorrow. I feel sorrow because people don't see me as unique, as force. I feel sad, sorrow, as a 3 because others don't see me as an achiever. And as a 2, I feel sad because others don't seek my help, don't see me as a helper. I feel worthless if others don't see me as a helper. I feel sad as a 3 if others don't see me as achievers. That is the relationship. That's what is the dominant emotion for the heart centers. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I just take up one more. So, interesting question. Is it possible for a person to change type based on situation or environment? I'm not sure whether you would like to take it towards the end or you would like to address it right now.
Yes, I'll mention that so that we don't repeat this question. Simply because, as I mentioned in the beginning, all of us have one core type. Now there is research, there is writing, there is evidence that typing is prenatal. Let's not go there now. Typing is prenatal, and you are born with a type, and each type is having those gifts, and the arrows are meant, they have some sense in that direction. So the lifelong journey of growth and development through Enneagram framework is to be able to develop my own self, my own type. I evolve my own type. I deploy the best part of my type, my gifts, and I also, once I reach the highest level of development in my type, I keep drawing on from the other types. That is when situationally you will be doing things that another type might be doing. But left to yourself, as I said in the first slide, Enneagram is about our auto behaviors, our pattern behaviors, our habitual patterns. Yeah? Given everything is constant, this is the one I would do. This is the things that I would do. Under stress, you will be drawn to some other behaviors. You will not get there. I hope I clarified that. All right.
Yes, we can move ahead.
Yes. The next centers are the mental centers. I would prefer to call it as a head center. Probably I'll change this from next presentation. I call it as a head center. Mental has a very negative connotation in our culture. So I'll be more mindful of that. So what drives the head centers for 5s is the fear. That is a dominant emotion. शिखा, आप हर 10 मिनट में प्लीज फ्लैग कीजिए टाइम, बिकॉज मैं 2 दिन पढ़ाऊंगा ये.
I just noticed.
हाँ?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Need
right.
to be quick.
I know it's 8:55. Just saw the clock. Thank you. So, what does this image bring for us? A quick
Scared.
check.
Okay. Responses, please. Shock, late response.
Yes.
So scared and shock is the word that we are getting here.
Okay.
Observing. Somebody said observing.
Alert.
Alert. Yes. Completely.
Curious.
Curious.
Not safe. Tensed. Okay.
All right. What is the image of?
Anxious alert.
Sorry.
Anxious alert.
Anxious alert. Okay.
Focusing is somebody wrote.
Focus. What is the image of an owl in different cultures? What does it represent?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Yes. What else? You'll see what. Why?
Wisdom. Observant
Wisdom.
intelligence, wisdom.
Yes, intelligence and wisdom. That's what fives are identified with. Let's get into that. So, what is their worldview? They seek knowledge and wisdom, detaching from feelings in order to not feel overwhelmed. Yeah. So, why are they called head centers? Is that they detach from feelings and emotions in a big way, and for different reasons, which you will see. So, identify your type. So, if you think you are from the head center, either 5, 6, or 7, just explore this part. What is the reason why you are detaching from feelings? And you will see that happen through the presentation, so that you can land on your type properly. What are the gifts and blind spots? They're pretty objective because they're very knowledgeable. They're well-read people. They keep exploring, keep learning a lot of stuff. They are the ones who constantly, like me, keep getting certification after certification. Yeah, they're very cerebral people. They're very cognitive. They'll say, okay, tell me, what is the data telling you? They'll say, they'll never ask a question. So what do you feel about this? Nah, that's not my type. Yeah. So because they're so wise and knowledgeable and informed, they are overly independent. They do a lot of stuff on their own. Like I'm developing a video, I got a recorder, I bought a recorder, I got some camera, I got some microphones. I'm asking my daughter to help me set it up and record it, do trials. So this is how fives function. Overtly independent and emotionally completely detached. Those are the blind spots. And what is the image? What is the focus? Sorry. The focus of attention will demand to be placed on me for my time, energy, and resources, so that I end up depleted. So any social conversation, if you see yourself in any social gatherings, and if there are some types, for example, 7s, you will see that. They are the ones who are the center of attention in any party or a social gathering. Or they'll go to talk to the host, they'll talk. If the host has introduced you to somebody just now, you'll spend 5 minutes with him or her. Then that person introduces you to another person, you're spending time there. And probably by the time the party ends, you would have met most of the people in the party. That's how 7 show up. 5s will find it extremely depleting to be able to engage in conversation with people. So many, a range of people especially. Simply because talking to people, engaging with them means getting overwhelmed with emotions and feelings. And that's quite challenging for 5s. Yeah. So like they will sit in one corner and talk to few people. Not that they won't speak to people. They're not, get into isolation. They don't withdraw into isolation. But they'll speak to a small group of people. They'll engage. They'll engage in a lot of intellectual talk. They'll talk about politics, why it is going this way. They'll have very objective analysis of what Modi should be doing or what Trump should be doing. Yeah, and they'll engage and they'll have a lot of information around it. and very authentic. So that is their focus of attention. And what are their core beliefs? I must know in advance what to expect. I can't handle surprises. Yeah. So think about your friends. I have a friend. If I just go to his place in my college days and pick him up for a movie, you'll find it very extremely difficult. He said, why didn't you inform me? I would have planned it. I said, what is there to plan? Yeah, we have finished our college. We will get some girls around and some boys around. We'll go for a movie. Come on. He said, no, I have to. Don't give me such surprises. He can't handle it. Because then he has to plan to engage with people, and getting into an emotional space becomes challenging for a 5. I'll be drained if I engage with others for too long. Yeah, small talk is good for them, not long conversations. So identify yourself, identify people around you, and that is the ancient wisdom that I'm bringing into focus so that we can relate, improve the relationships around us and with ourselves. Why do I get upset? Why do I get drained off when I need to do so much of talking? Identify that. And many 5s will experience this. So there is not enough to go around, so I must conserve my resources, is what 5s believe. Logic is objective, feelings are subjective, so you can't trust them. That's why they shun away from emotional connections. Key indicator, chronically, automatically disconnecting from feelings in real time. Here and now, very difficult for me as a 5 to connect emotionally, the feelings level with others. And that can be quite challenging. So understanding how 5s relate, what is their worldview, what is the lens that they're looking at the world with, is extremely useful to be able to relate to 5s and build a relationship with you, and vice versa. Questions, Shika?
Not so far.
All right. Again, 6s are also a head center, and they also have fear that is driving them, and the fear is for different reasons here. Yeah. So what is this telling us? What is the image? What meaning are we making out of 5? 6.
Confused.
Confused.
Confused, anxious,
Anxious.
indecisive.
Indecisive. Good ones. I'll show you another image. Yeah. What is this telling you? What is coming up for you as you see this second image?
Likes variety, unsure.
Sure.
What am I doing?
Hmm.
Doesn't trust self.
What am I doing in the webinar, or you're talking about the meaning of the image?
The image.
All right. Thank you, guys. And let's move on and let's look at what 6s are like. Their worldview, they seek certainty and meaning. They have to be absolute sure. Using anticipatory planning and insight in order to feel prepared. They always want to be prepared. Yeah. And how do they do this? We'll see it. The gifts and blind spots. They're very, very persevering because they need to be sure completely to be able to show up and take action. So they have to perceive a lot to be able to get there to certainty. And they're extremely loyal. But a lot of skepticism. They just hate ambiguity. They can't stand ambiguity. And that's why you'll see some of the core beliefs, it reflects in their core beliefs also, how they show up. And I'll give you some examples of how 6s show up. So what is their focus of attention? What could go wrong? Who can I trust? What is the best decision? What are the authority figures doing? These are the things that 6s focus their attention on. They're constantly asking a lot of questions. Yeah. The moment you're asking questions, you want to be certain. So think of these things. I don't know, Shika, if some people have put up their type as 5. Anybody identified?
Not as 5.
Yeah. If you think you're a 5, please put it there. Then I said I'll need to do something with that, which we'll explore. So focus here is asking a lot of questions. I want to be extremely sure. Yeah, and I'll give you some examples around it. Core beliefs: I have to doubt and anticipate everything to feel safe and be prepared. So the fear is about feeling safe. Yeah. So the fear of 5 is very different from fear of 6. So depletion of resources is the fear of 5. So fear of 6 is to be safe, to be sure, to be certain. Explore, just understand these things. Just bring to your attention friends, family, anybody in your circle of influence who you think could be this kind of a person. Nothing is actually what it seems. Always read below the surface. Amol, are you on the call? It would be foolish to trust authority figures, but I can try to befriend them, because it is foolish to trust simply because I'm not sure. I'm not certain that they would do the best thing. I like risk, but dislike too much risk. I'm often ambivalent. So that's why I ask a lot of questions. So my colleague Amol, I have his permission to use his example. He's a typical 6. So especially when we're doing some assignment, we engage people from outside as associates. So I say, okay, Amol, these are the 5 people we are calling. I've already spoken to them. Just organize it, get the logistics in place. So he'll say, okay, sir, ye 5 ho gaye, but what if somebody cannot come on that day? The first question. I said, what makes you think so? No, he's saying, what if? I'm just asking you. I want to be prepared. I said, okay, then take another one. He'll say, can we have one more backup? I said, what is the reason? Why do you need a backup? He's hale and hearty. He can come. He's promised. He's blocked his dates. So this is what. So this is where Amol is not trusting me. Yeah, because it is the boss is taking the decision. So he has a lot of questions. Every time we drive together from point A to point B, somebody is using the whiteboard. Please stop doing that. Thank you. It is creating disturbance on the screen. Yeah. If you don't know how to use it, please disable it. So if you're going from point A to point B, for example, if you're going to the airport from home to get out of Pune, where we are, he'll say, sir, we'll take this route. Then he'll quickly look up the Google and say, sir, this route is shorter, but there is a lot of traffic at it. So we can take the third route if there is a lot of traffic after we reach. Lots and lots of formalities. Please put your mics on mute, please. A lot of what ifs and buts and contingency plans after contingency plans. Yeah. So those are the kind of people that 6s are, and there's nothing wrong about it. So I've been saying that, this is how they show up. That is their core belief. That's what driving them. Key indicator: chronically questioning self and others while also fearing or challenging authority figures. This is what they do. He says, yes, but I have a counter opinion, is what he will tell whenever we start working on projects. So that's our 6. Any 6s in the room, please?
Yes, we have people who identify themselves as 5 and as well as 6. We have set of people for 5 and
great.
some.
Wonderful. Any questions so far, Shika? Can I move on?
You can move on, sir.
All right. This is the 7s. This is the most interesting ones. Yeah. So, what this image tell you?
Responses in the chat box, people. Introspection,
Introspection.
vortex, focus, beauty, deep depth, okay. Overthinking, snail, options,
Yeah.
creativity,
Option.
diversification.
Diversification. Yes. Let's. Thank you. We can go on and on. What is their worldview? They seek stimulation, excitement, unlimited options, engaging in positive possibility planning. Yeah, they're constantly moving from one project to another. For example, I keep saying this. You know, my daughter is a typical 7. When we are driving for long distance, anything more than half hour drive, she'll constantly change the FM stations. I said, "Beta, ek gana lagao. Ye zyada interesting hai. It's more interesting. You know? And let me check out what is there on the other FM station. You know, what is there to check? Because they're already playing a nice song, but there may be a better song also. What do you know? Yeah, they're seeking constant excitement and stimulation. So they're looking for options, a lot of options. Imagine a 7 with only one radio station in the world. Yeah, he'll die out of boredom.
Yeah.
It's a sure shot death. You don't have to give any corporal punishment to 7s. Just put him in a room, no stimulation, only one radio station, or only one song playing day in and day out for him. He'll die out of boredom, guaranteed. You don't have to spend money in the lockups. All right, gifts and blind spots. Very energetic, quick imagination, creative. Yeah, they have tons of ideas at breathtaking speeds. You can't match them. If you're a boss, 7 boss, imagine your people cannot match up. So think about how you want to moderate yourself dealing with team members who are not 7s. So that's why they're unfocused, because they're jumping for excitement and they're pain avoidant. What they fear is the pain. They don't want to. They are doing a lot of exciting things, looking for constant stimulation is because they want to avoid pain. Somebody who thinks 7, please start putting it. I'll show you what is the focus of attention. What is the most exciting thing to do now? Do I feel constrained? That's why I said put him in a room. Containment zones are extremely painful for 7s. Some of you who have been in the containment zones, who have been home quarantined, who have been in lockdown and found it very challenging, be assured that you could be a possible 7. Yeah. And how can avoid pain? That's why they look for constant excitement. That is their focus of attention. Beliefs. I need to be constantly excited. Being limited is the same as being trapped. No one has the right to restrain me. That's how they believe. I must have every option available. So they'll try everything. I have to constantly keep thinking, planning and moving, or I get bored. So boredom is a big deal for 7s. Key indicator, instantaneously and continuously moving from one idea to another in rapid succession. All of us move from one idea to other, but not at the breathtaking speeds of 7s. Any 7s in the room? And any questions?
Yes, we seem to have 7 in the room. Yes. And of
Great.
course, we have Madhavi who has written, couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Yeah, and 7. Yeah, there are people who are writing. Somebody sees his or her, I believe, dad as 7, father as 7.
Okay. So be mindful how to interact with 7. We can't go there today because it just will open up appreciating each type. That's what this webinar is intended for.
Just one question from my side rather. So
Sure.
while you were discussing 3, you did mention that the way 7s and 3 look at audience is different. And then you said that I will specify when I explain 7 to you all.
More like, I meant more between 4 and 7.
Okay.
Yeah. 4 are very intense. They are not so much worried about the audience. As a musician, I'm talking. They are more connected to self, so that they connect with their uniqueness with their audience. Yeah? But whereas a 7 is constantly looking. So in Hindi, we कहते हैं ना चमत्कारिक बजाना. No, they are very flashy in their performance because they are playing to the galleries, because that's the excitement they get.
Right.
Yeah.
One question that we have got, although the time that we have is very less.
Yes.
Do 7 pose risk for attrition in organizations?
Yes and no. It depends on the situation. For example, if you look at millennials, there is no threat at all, because that's how they live their life. The entire generation Z and Y and beyond, whatever you can call, they are constantly looking for stimulation. They're just moving on from one to the other. The entire generation is like that. So you can't be saying it is a problematic situation. But if he's not performing, yes, of course, irrespective of the type, it poses a threat for the organization. So 8, their dominating emotion is expressed anger. Yeah. So what does this image give us? Quick ones, 4 or 5 words, and we'll move on.
Yeah, responsibility, power.
Power, yes. Quick.
Power, dominating.
Dominating.
Fighter.
Fighter.
Superpower.
Superpower, yes. Confidence. All right.
I'm boss.
I'm the boss, right.
Yeah.
All right. What is the worldview? Seek justice, control, and large-scale immediate action, hiding their own vulnerability. That is how they look at the world. Yeah. They want to be seen as powerful and not as a weakling. And what are their gifts and blind spots? They're very strategic people, and they're protective of their clan. But the negative aspect, flip side, is that can be quite demanding and dominating with others. In any relationship, be in the parental role, spouse role, friendship role, boss role, it can be anything. They can be quite dominating in the way they show up. If they are not developed, the self-mastery is important. That is for another session. So body-centered, express anger for 8. The focus of attention, everything is under control in a fair and just way. And who has the power to influence what is going on around me? I should be in charge, right? That is their focus. And beliefs, I can never afford to be weak. Vulnerability is seen as weakness. No one is big enough to be there for me. I can control everything. The world is divided into the strong and the weak. Only strong survive. Yeah. In terms of worldview, 8s also have a binary vision of the world. But unlike 1s who have a binary vision of right or wrong, 8s have a binary vision of strong or weak. Still, they are very similar in the way they look at the world, in terms of the lens they are using. I can only trust and count on myself. These are the views, that worldviews they have, beliefs. And what is their key indicator? Powerful energy at almost all times, even when silent. So 8s have some kind of presence, even when they're not speaking. 8 in the room can be identified very quickly. Becomes angry frequently and instantly. Anger can trigger off because they express anger freely. Because they want to be seen as strong and in control. Because that is the way they're looking at the world. Any 8s in the room? Or any questions at this point of time? You identify as an 8?
Somebody identified her friend as 8. Somebody suggesting our Prime Minister could be type 8.
Yeah, that's a good thing to explore. Let's all do an exercise on mapping Modi onto the Enneagram. I'm not sure if he's an 8, but we'll check. So can we move? Shikha,
Yes,
no,
yes. Yeah.
last one before we do an exercise. I know we're running short of time, but I'll see how much we can achieve. The body center, the last one is 9s. They avoid anger. That is their dominant emotion. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is the only way I can avoid anger. Yeah. I can't express it. I can't suppress it, but I need to avoid it completely. But it has to be expressed someday. Their worldview, they seek harmony, mutual positive regard, and consensus, forgetting themselves in the process. Yeah. So like 2s, 9s also have this challenge of not paying attention to themselves, but for different reasons. Yeah. They are so focused on harmony, like 2s are focused on helping, that they pay less attention to themselves. And they don't want to get into conflict. Conflict is not the way of life. The positives and flip side, they're pretty easygoing and very inclusive. Yeah? And they have diffuse attention and they're pretty conflict avoidant. What is their focus of attention? Is everyone being heard and respected, including me? Is what they will think. The core beliefs, I should not stand out under any circumstances. I can't be the center of attention. So a 9 will feel extremely challenged to be a master of the ceremony. Focus on the MC can be quite challenging for a 9 to digest. It's not okay to stand up for what I believe or show my anger. Conflict destroys. That's not the right thing. It's never okay to be pushy, aggressive, or ambitious, like an 8. Life in a fog is far safer than in the spotlight. That's what I said. Yeah. So that's what 9s are like. And their key indicator, low, even-tempered energy, rarely knowing what they do want, but may know what they don't want. This is the example where I bring to your attention of the visit to the restaurant. If there is a 9, and you ask a 9 whether you'll have a pasta or he'll say, no, I don't want pasta. I say, okay, then you have a pizza. He says, no, I don't like pizza. Okay, then you have an ice cream. No, I don't want an ice cream. And you say, okay, then you have a sandwich. He said, no. You have a sub. No. So what do you want? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you would have experienced this with some of your friends, family, people around you. So 9s rarely know what they want. Yeah? But they know what they don't want. So these are the ways that we show up. And these are extremely useful lenses for us to be able to deal with each other, even while we're doing this online, remote working, remote functioning, remote schools, and remote families. Some of the families I know somebody's spouse is stuck in France, if I'm not mistaken. So he's living with his kids here in India near Delhi. So there are all kinds of things happening, but it's a way to relate to each other very powerfully. Yeah. Now, it's all about motivation. What motivates us? So each type is having a key motive. So 9s are motivated to keep a balance because they believe in harmony. 1s have to do the right thing. That is what is the motivation. And 2s have to help those in need. They have an uncanny sense of identifying what others might need. Extremely high. You ask my brother, he'll tell you. Then 3 have to outshine the rest. Ask Shikha. 4 have to be very, very unique. Yeah. And Fives, the motivation is to understand everything that is going on around me. And sixes have to be safe. That's what motivates me to behave in the way I show up. And sevens have to experience it all. That's why I'm seeking excitement and stimulation from everything that I can have. I don't want to live out anything. And eights have to be in control of everything. That's what the motivation is. So this is enough for us for today. What I invite you to do is, I thought of doing an exercise which will be time consuming. I will skip that. So each type is having a gift, which I'll share quickly, which I spoke already. Being in unity with nature and cosmos is the gift. So everything they'll see in unity. And one's gift is of goodness and dignity. Two's is attunement. How do you attune? And there's a lot of love and generosity that twos have. And threes are driven by the gift of value and glory, how I can grow. Fours in depth of connection, basically, in identity. Who am I is what they're constantly really gifted with. And fives are gifted with illumination and clarity because they're seekers of knowledge. Loyalty, that's why devotedness and awakeness, alert, is what sixes are constantly. And that's a great gift I have in my colleague Amol, who is always alert to what might go wrong, which I may be blind to from my type position. And seven is enthused with joy, gratitude, freedom, a lot of that effervescence of joy and freedom, how it feels. So we need to draw on from each of these types and bring that gift to our own type of being. That's how we can be each type when at will, actually. If you have developed yourself, if you have a mastery in your own type, then you can move at will to any type and use their gift to be able to deal with our own issues. So 8 is aliveness and strength. That's what 8's bring on to conversation. Any questions before I close this?
2, actually. Can types change over time or the situations?
No.
Can somebody be a combination of 2 core types?
No.
You have answered it all.
As I said, if you have spent time in building your capacity as your own type, after you identify your type, after you discover your type, if you have spent, because we need to be our own type very powerfully and develop a mastery in my type. Only then can I start looking at the other types and draw from them. At the lowest level of self-mastery in my type, I won't be able to display any other type behavior. It may be anecdotal, accidental, but not intentional. All right?
So, somebody wants to know, how do you identify your type in first place? We need more sessions with you.
तो इतना सत्संग सुनाने के बाद थोड़ा तो आइडेंटिफाई हुआ होगा. Yeah. So what is important is to keep exploring. Yeah? And you will need time. Don't rush into discovering your type, because I know that a lot of people. I met somebody in Dublin some years ago when I was training. She mistyped herself. Some test mistyped her, and when we are doing our training, she landed upon her type and she said, "Oh my God, I knew why I was not growing internally all these years." So there is a big danger of mistyping than not being able to type yourself. One of the tips I'll offer you, all of you, is if you are repulsed by a type, saying that, no, this 3 is not me, I'm not so competitive, I'm not an achiever, be assured that it may be your type. Typically, we hate to accept that we are a particular type because we have already formulated an image of what is a good type. So be aware of that.
That was deep.
Yes, Shikha. Anything else? Otherwise, I will move to the closure.
Yes, I think we can close.
All right. So I talked about this is what I was going to do, but we don't have time. I'll
Mahesh,
respect that. Yes.
although you answered it already, but still somebody has posted it asking, at what age type gets fixed?
Prenatal.
Yeah, you answered that already.
Yeah.
Yeah, please move ahead.
So there are two gifts that I'm offering.